Swim check 1, 2. Bike check 1, 2. Run check 1, 2. I think we're ready. Let's try this. Welcome to the Try Beginner's Luck podcast, a podcast where we explore the sport of triathlon from a variety of perspectives to help beginner triathletes on their journey. I am your host, Mashonda Shines. Would sing to you, but I'm just going to go ahead and say, welcome back to another edition of Try Beginner's Luck. I had like a Christmas song in my head, but I don't really know words to songs. I just know like the melody. And it was like, do, 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 do. So that's kind of the mode that I'm in, but it's also time for me to like do real work, like interview people. So I'm like, I'm torn between listening to Christmas music and doing this interview and all the good stuff. So happy holidays to you. Happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, happy holidays. What a joyous time. So as we are doing the celebration of trying with friends, which has been absolutely hilarious. The first week with McKenna, Brenna, and Janelle. The second week with professional Sarah Karpinski and Jason Herbaugh. And this week, we have another trio, but two of the three are married. And then there's one. But listen, when you hear their story, you are going to be like, oh, this is how you try. They do competitions where they rage bets. And I may get this wrong, where they have to tell their mom something or get the mom to send the other one a love note or something silly like that. Come on, whose wages a bet? They do it around these really crazy races, and whoever comes in first has to do the opposite thing. So they're going to tell you their story, but that's the point of trying with friends, right? You have built-in accountability partners, you have camaraderie, and just instant people who understand the joy of triathlon and just the joy of racing together. So today I get the awesome pleasure of bringing, and let me just be clear, they're my friends too. So I get to bring to the Try Beginner's Luck my friends, Tim Hughes, who we started triathlon together back in 2014. So happy almost 10 years to Tim. And then I get to bring a couple who I met through the Juneteenth run. Yeah, the Juneteenth run, Laura Povlich and Tatsu Osada. Welcome to the Try Beginner's Luck podcast. How y'all doing?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Doing well. Excited to be here.
Always good to talk to you, Mashonda.
Oh, Laura, thank you for being so kind as I butchered your name. And it's been a long day. Blame it on my braids. I just got my braids done, so my hair is really it's like tight. And so please excuse if I mispronounced your name. But this is good. I do believe it was Juneteenth of 2020 when I learned about these triathlons challenges that Tatsu and Tim participated in. But it was also because, you know what, this goes a little bit further than Juneteenth. Actually, I remember connecting with you, Laura, for the ride that Michael Ship and I did.
That's right.
In 2020.
Yeah.
It wasn't centered around Juneteenth, but it was to help with the racial tensions that were happening. And we was like, let's put on this ride of unity. And we brought together the different triathlon groups and different bike clubs and had black bike clubs come all the way down from Philadelphia in 2020. And we literally boycotted the streets of Washington, D.C. in unity together. And I think that's when I met you all. And then it continued with the Juneteenth marathon.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, just so enamored with them because it wasn't just very friendly. But then this whole competition thing between friends, and I was like, who does that? Who actually does these wages? And wages back and forth. But every friend group has their thing that makes them special. And so I would love it if you all would just tell this audience who you are and how you got into triathlon first in the first place. So we'll start with Tim and then come with Laura and Tatsu.
Sure. So I'm Tim Hughes. I got into triathlon after first running for a few years. Moved to DC in 2012 and was running and still running with the Pacers social run group. And it was through Pacers where from another friend, Dustin Renwick, heard about the Capital Y Tri program, and he knew I was looking to want to do my first triathlon. Um, and so it was in 2014 when I joined the Capital Y triathlon team. Wanted to have a new challenge. Had done some marathons, halves, and some other running races, and it's like, well, let's see what's another challenge I can accomplish here. And triathlon seemed like an exciting challenge. And that's where Mashonda, met you and some others in our newbie program. So that was my start into the triathlon scene with the Y Tri community.
Okay, Laura and Tatsu.
You want to go?
I guess I'll go
Yeah.
because I started triathlon first. So I grew up swimming and I ran a little bit of cross country through high school. And then in grad school, one of my friends that I was swimming and running with pretty regularly decided he wanted to do a triathlon. So I just kind of joined. I don't know, just because, I guess. I had to borrow a friend's bike. I didn't even have a bike. I remember I didn't run very much leading up to it, so it was rough. But yeah, that was in grad school in Buffalo.
Yeah, and I came to that race and watched and was kind of inspired by all the different age ranges of people that were racing. I mean, this was a small race in Buffalo, but it just made me think, like, maybe this is something I could try too. I guess I'm easily inspired by watching people do hard things. And so after watching Tatsu do his first race, I was living in Michigan at the time, decided that I wanted to do my first triathlon a year later because I would have to learn how to swim first. And so kind of went through kind of basic training, learning how to swim. Tatsu taught me how to swim, getting a bike, and did my first race, a year later in 2008. And I would say, we were kind of lightly into triathlon at that time, but definitely when we moved to DC and met other kind of like-minded people who were even more intensely into triathlon, I think we got sucked into it deeper and doing longer races and meeting Tim and doing competitions with Tim. So it's been a journey.
That's all it takes is getting connected with a community that makes you want to get into it more and more. And I think this is the impetus as to why I wanted friends to come on together, because when you have a tribe that you try with, it'll make you feel like there's nothing that you can't conquer, right? Like you can do anything. And it's just about being with like-minded people. So I love the fact that when you guys moved to DC, that's when it kind of really took root and you guys went from there. Let's talk about your first races. Like, I want to hear about Tatsu's race in grad school, yours a year later after learning how to swim, and Tim talking about your first race in 2014, which I feel like I know what that was. So I definitely want to talk to you about that, but we're going to start in the reverse order this time. So Tatsu, tell us about like, what was it like your first your first race? Take us through all the motions and things of that nature.
So I didn't train particularly well. So as I said before, I didn't have a bike, so I had to borrow my friend's bike. So definitely, so my first race was an Olympic distance in Buffalo, and I definitely did not do any bike rides more than like 15 miles leading up to it. I remember the day of the race, the water was really choppy to the point where if they had the race now, it probably would have been canceled. And but I am a former swimmer, so the swimming was fine. I think I came out of the water in second place. And then after that, I gradually got passed by a bunch of people throughout the race. I also remember I forgot to take my helmet off in T2, and I ran for about 400 meters before I realized someone told me, and then I turned around and put the helmet back. Do you remember that?
Not really.
Absolutely love that, because we have a helmet head situation. This is the third time that I've heard that someone has forgotten their helmet. The first one was in our first season. Tisa Holly had forgotten her helmet. And then I think it was last week or the week before, was it Sarah Karpinski or Jason Herbaugh said that they lost, they had their helmet on. So that's, welcome to the helmet club, Tatsu. Welcome to the helmet club. All
You're
right.
not a true triathlete until that happens to you.
Yeah.
Well, it hasn't happened to me, so I guess I'm not a true triathlete yet. Or it just makes you a super triathlete.
Yeah, there you go.
A super triathlete. I love it. All right, Laura.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this earlier today, actually. I feel like I kind of blacked out for parts of the race. but I do remember the swim, largely just because it was such kind of a terrifying experience for me. So being a new swimmer, I think I had, definitely nerves about just the swimming part, but then also I've like grown up with an irrational fear of like things that live in water, so like fish and sharks and things like that. So it kind of all compiles to like create this state of anxiety before a race, and because of I think that anxiety, I ended up like many people in their first triathlon not being able to catch my breath during the swim, and did backstroke basically the whole swim. So I would like turn around to make sure I was still on course, but I was like, well, this is how I know I can move forward. So let me just problem solve and figure out how to finish. And then, yeah, I actually don't remember that much about the bike and run, maybe just because the swim was so dramatic. But it proved to me that I could get through it, and that, I could finish the race. And coming for myself from not an athletic background, it felt like a really big accomplishment to do that.
It was a big accomplishment, and look at what you've done since. And I think it's funny how certain traumatic experiences does put holes in certain parts of our stories. And so
Yeah.
I'm glad that because you had such a traumatic first time, it didn't prevent you from continuing to try. And so I just say thank you for pushing through that, because sometimes people can have a traumatic and a traumatic situation, and it causes them to completely dismiss the sport and not even want to participate. And so kudos to you for just continuing and pushing past what was uncomfortable.
Thanks.
Tim, my newbie partner.
Yeah.
What's up? What's up?
Okay.
All right. So,
So I think it was both of our first race, the Philly Triathlon, in 2014 with the Y Tri team. Um, Things I remember most about that. So, one of the reasons why I joined Y Tri, was, for the coaching program in general, but particularly that it offered coach swimming, because I did not have any swimming background at all. I knew that was going to be an area where I would need to focus the most on. it's still my weakest sport. And so for Philly, I think a lot of the races now have changed where they do kind of the mass swim start and you can place yourself based off on pace. But at that time, that's when they grouped you into age groups and stuff. And so I think I was, in the 25 age group at that time, one of the first waves um, to go off. Um, and I just remember getting smacked by everyone who was much faster. So that was, a little nerve wracking, and was very happy once I was out of the water, and onto the bike and onto the run, where I excelled, much better, um, in, um, the bike course in Philly, is challenging. I want to say it was, um, our spin coach Liz, who always kept reminding us about Lemon Hill. It may have also been Siri, both of them, but just like preparing us for the hills for that bike course. And I don't think I knew at the time like how hard of a hill that was going to be. Um, Run course, I had a similar experience like Tatsu. I did not run with my helmet on, but I did forget to have my bib, like the race belt with your bib attached for the run portion. Um, and being in like a competitive like spare is like, well, I'm not going back to grab it. So hopefully I'm not pulled off for not having this with me. Um, but I think, what was one of the most memorable experiences with that entire race was doing it with the entire Y Try team, right? The combination of both the vets, but also the newbies, and seeing that 18-week training program, come to this culmination and all of us being able to share in that moment, right, in a goal that we've set out to do, and now it happened.
Oh, yeah. I like to call Philadelphia Philadelphia because those hills are massive and they are very, very challenging to say the least. Um, yeah, so I'm wondering how did this group meet? Because it seems like you guys were in two separate triathlon clubs in the Washington, D.C. area. So what brought you guys together and how did you meet in order to start this competitive? Like, how did this start? This friendship start?
So we all met through Pacers running. At the time, Pacers has moved, but this was when they were at their P Street location on P Street between 14th and 15th Street, right across from the Whole Foods. Um, they had weekly runs on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then track workouts um, on Thursdays. Um, and the time I met Tatsu, it either had to have been um, late December 2013 or it was like January 2014. It was one of the polar vortex runs, and it was freezing cold. And Tatsu's up in the front with us, just cruising along. And so he was who I met first, and then, eventually met Laura as well.
Anybody want to add anything to that?
Um, no, that was about it.
Yeah.
So when did this competitive competition between you all start? Like, I want to hear about the juicy parts because you guys have done several different types of competitions and they've had some really weird and awkward payouts or rewards at the end. So when did that start?
I think it was 2017, the year that we did Lake Placid.
Yeah.
No,
Did
we
we have
did.
one before
It was
that?
It was New Jersey was the
Oh,
first
Ah,
one. Um,
forgot
I'm
about
Something.
that one.
recall what year we did that.
probably
Probably
2016.
2016.
2016?
Yeah.
2016 or it's 2016 or 2015 because I don't know if it was 2016, Laura, when we also did um Timberman.
Yes, we did Timberman in 2016.
Okay, so then yeah, it was probably 2016 um for New Jersey Tri as well. Um I think with like New Jersey Tri, so like the three of us had already done some triathlons. Um and a few of our other run friends were wanting to do their first triathlon as well. And one of our friends, grew up in New Jersey, so she wanted to do the New Jersey Tri, and so all of us, um, decided to join in on that. I think the discussion happened during one of like the wine nights that Laura and Tatsu were hosting at their apartment. Um,
That sounds right.
and it became a very late night. There was a bottle of sake that I brought that we didn't open at the time. And it's like, oh, we should drink the sake now. And that's where the first bet started to come together over a discussion of what's the correct way to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
No
Tatsu
way.
can explain his disgusting way.
So this is America. So it's white bread with grape jelly and smooth peanut butter.
Is that how you prefer to make your peanut butter and jelly
That
sandwich?
is the correct way to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
And I'm assuming that, Tim, you had a different way you like to make your peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Much different. I prefer like a whole wheat or type of grain bread, chunky peanut butter, and then either strawberry preserves or raspberry preserves. Um, and then I like to throw bananas on it as well. So giving it a bit more of a crunch, bit more of texture. That's my go-to. But so for the bet, um, you know, we came up with whoever lost the triathlon, the loser had to um, eat the other person's version of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for a month. Um, and with all of these, one of our friends got assigned bet commissioner. And so any of these bets had to go through approval for her and so forth. So that
I,
would
I
go,
also I also have veto power since the results often affect me.
So wait a minute. Let me make sure I get this correct. Okay. So Laura, you are the bet commissioner.
No, so I'm not the bet commissioner. That's our friend Marissa. I just get if the outcome of the bet involves something that's extremely negative for me, then I get to say no, we're not doing that. So for example, I think one time Tatsu was like, loser has to eat vegan for a month or something. And I mean, we eat together, and I was like, well, that's not really practical in our household. So let's not do that. Just as an example, not that there's anything wrong with eating vegan. It's just not how we eat.
So you have to reel in Tatsu because he has extreme measures of challenges that he likes to
Right.
put you all in.
Yeah.
Okay, so this peanut butter and jelly sandwich. We're at the New Jersey Triathlon. You got some friends who are newbies who are trying, and They're probably asking you questions on the course, but you can't even focus on what they're doing because you guys now have this bet that you started over sake one late night in the District of Columbia. And Tatsu, who likes to make his with white bread, grape jelly, and smooth peanut butter. But then you got Tim, who likes wheat bread, chunky peanut butter, strawberry preserves with bananas, a little bit more elevated peanut butter and jelly sandwich, if you will. Who had to eat what for a month?
I had
Who lost?
I lost. I lost, and ended up having to eat Tatsu's version for the month. Um, and I think the other part of that challenge, so there was two parts of that challenge. It's got extended a lot, but so I had to eat his version of the peanut butter and jelly sandwich for a month. And then the other side of that challenge was the loser had to do um, the Bring Sally Up push-up challenge.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so if you, I don't know who the artist is, but if you YouTube um, Bring Sally Up push-up challenge, it's to the song Bring Sally Up. And it's like, okay, on the up chorus, you're in the up position. On the down chorus, you're in the down position. And it's like goes for about 4 minutes or so, 4 to 5 minutes. Um, the down, right? It's not just like, okay, you're going up, down, like in a consecutive, consistent motion. You're holding that down for a while. And so it really starts to burn. Um, and somehow over more discussions with this bet, um, it came about, well, whoever has to do the Bring Sally Up challenge, and in this case it was me, if successful, Tatsu then was going to have to make 4 bowls of ramen um, for me and our two other friends who were also doing their first triathlon. So somehow they figured out how to weave their way into getting benefit out of this. Um, and so was successful with the Bring Sally Up. And somehow, even though I had to do the PB&J, I think Tatsu got the shorter end of this bet and had to make the 4 bowls of ramen.
Yeah, so I won the race, but for some reason I ended up making 4 meals for like 5 people.
Sounds like that was a win-win to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so, what has been the extent of the challenges? Because that was the first challenge. And if you can name kind of quickly the different bets, and is there a person, does the bet commissioner keep up with the overall tally of, is it Tatsu 10 and Tim 9? Like, is there an overall arching like scoreboard where we can know how many bets each of you have won?
I think I'm up by 1. I don't remember exactly how many,
Yeah.
but the biggest one was 2017 Ironman Lake Placid, and the loser has to buy the winner 1 beer a month for the rest of our lives. And I lost that one. So
Now,
now
what?
I owe Tim 1 beer a month for the rest of my life.
Okay, so you're buying Tim a beer 1 month for the rest of your life. What was the bet? Like, did you have to win by a certain amount of time? Like, what was the wager?
It was just whoever
Just,
finished first.
just whoever was first.
Yeah.
Right. And the idea, right, behind it was, right, one, the competition and the beer, but it's like, okay, this creates a reason, right, to get together and do something, um, right, over it and like celebration and stuff. And both Tatsu and I like beer, and so this was a fun way to go about it. Um, he has tried to convince me to do double or nothing, and I refuse to ever do that at this point.
Absolutely. You're set. You get a beer a month, a beer a month. But if I remember correctly, and again, I remember there was something with mothers involved.
That
So
was
that
the
was the
biggest
most
thing.
recent. That was our most recent one.
Okay.
So this was the kinetic sprint triathlon this year. And I got this, I was inspired by this bet from a friend, former roommate of mine. It was where I got the idea. Um, so the bet was whoever lost that sprint try, the loser had to buy the winner's mom, flowers and write a note about how amazing their son is, and stuff. Um, it was supposed to coincide with Mother's Day, but the way the kinetic triathlon fell, it fell on Mother's Day weekend. So we ended up extending it also because I was the one who lost the bet. And Tatsu's mom speaks Japanese. So there was going to be a lot more involved into this process now, putting together the letter. Um, so what was going to be Mother's Day changed to, um, for his mom's birthday, which September 6th,
September 5th.
September 5th. Okay. Um, so plenty of time now to plan. Remember, his mom lives in San Diego with his sister. And so there's a lot of coordination going back and forth um, with Tatsu and his sister to be on the lookout for the flowers coming and the card. Um, and with the card, um, you know, I ended up writing the letter out in English using this translator and then sending it off to Tatsu to review before sending it out to his mom. Um, and then, once got his feedback and it came time, started searching around for florists in the San Diego area who would be willing, right, for me to mail a card out to them and then include it in the package. The first florist that I reached out to was like, absolutely not, we're not doing that. Uh, the second florist, and I'll give them a shout out, Balboa Florist. They're like, yeah, we can absolutely do that. Send us a card. Um, we'll take care of everything. And I was like, great. Here's the card. This is Miko's phone number, Tatsu's sister. If you need to call, that's the number you call when you deliver. And from what I've heard from Tatsu, it was a success. So,
Yeah. What was your mom's reaction?
She was very impressed with both the letter and the flowers.
Yeah.
So, Laura, how do you, as the chief vetoer, manage these competitions? And do you ever get in on them?
Yeah. I mean, I would have no chance of beating either of these guys and something athletic. Normally, just trying to help think of creative ideas for what the winner could get or what the loser would have to do. Try to make sure that what they're trying to achieve is realistic. And I think sometimes I am an instigator myself too, so maybe sometimes I encourage them to have bets for certain activities, or I don't know. I think we all kind of egg each other on in some ways. So
And then more recently this year, you guys all did a rim to rim out in
Grand
Utah,
Canyon.
Grand
Grand
Canyon.
Canyon.
Yeah, Grand
Let's talk
Canyon.
about that because that involved all three of you.
Yeah. Yeah, so Tatsu wanted to do rim to rim to rim for his 40th birthday, which was this past spring. So that involves going from one rim of the Grand Canyon to the other and then back again. So it's like 45 miles about.
Something like that.
And like the goal for some people who want to do this kind of activity is to finish to run it and do it in a day, which is quite difficult because it's about 11,000 feet of climbing as well. So Tatsu wanted to do it. Of course, Tim wanted to do it too then. And they got another friend of theirs, Nate, to join them. I think there were a number of us from Pacers, the same run club that we still run with, that wanted to join, but for less extreme challenges. And so I was interested in doing rim to rim and got a number of our other friends to join too. So there ended up being about 20 of us actually who went out and did that various versions of either rim to rim or rim to rim to rim. It was amazing. The Grand Canyon is beautiful.
Bet. Now, was there a competition with the rim to rim to rim for those who did the rim to rim to rim, or was just get in how you fit in, finish within the day?
Yeah, no competition for this one. This one was just like, um, finish it, challenge, something new to experience. I think for both of us, this was our longest run. Tatsu,
Yeah.
for me, it was.
Yeah. Also my first time in the Grand Canyon too.
Yeah.
So really, like this one was more of a focus of like, kind of big bucket list item, spectacular views, and just to see like, you know, what are we capable of, and what's another challenge we can focus on and push our limits.
So how long did it take you guys to go from rim to rim to rim?
I think it was like 14 hours.
Okay.
Something like that,
Like
yeah.
total time.
And then Laura, you did rim to rim. I
Yeah.
love it. So everyone got in their challenge. You did the rim to rim. We are moving and shaking. We are the competitors for life. I feel like this is not going to end anytime soon. It's just going to keep getting better and better and different depending on the age wait, there's a nice little age gap in between you and Tim, right, Tatsu?
Exactly, almost exactly 5 years.
Yeah.
So we
Oh.
actually there's like a 1 month window we could race in the same age group, but it's very
Slim.
unlikely that we ever will.
Yeah.
Mm.
We've actually been talking recently about Tim's 40th birthday and how he wants to run a 100-miler for his 40th. So I found a race that I want us all to do out in Cape Town, South Africa for it. We'll see if it happens, but yeah.
Okay, 100 miles for your 40th. I love this group. Keep me posted if you need someone to Sherpa you. I signed up for Sherpa duties. Okay. So, what is it about triathlon that just keeps you coming back? Because what I hear is that you do other activities in between. And I know a lot of people, especially after the pandemic, found it really hard to find joy again in triathlon and really get back into sport. And so, what has been that difference maker for you all to get back into sport and still continue to try?
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, like a couple things, having an existing community in DC really helps, with the support we have for each other. So we're all on besides Tim being on Y Tri, we're all on District Multisport, which is another triathlon team in DC. And I think just being a part of that and not only encouraging others, but gaining that motivation, seeing your friends kind of get back at it, I think really helps. I also really enjoy the training for triathlon, like the doing multiple disciplines, and just so my body doesn't feel like it's breaking down all the time. So I think if I'm doing the training, then eventually I'm like, well, I should probably do a race, right? Might as well.
Generally, I like all three sports individually. So I swim with the Masters team and I really enjoy that. I run with Pacers. I really enjoy that. For biking, I'm on like a virtual bike racing team and I really enjoy doing that. And I think because I just really enjoy working out in general, it ends up being that like I still do marathons, like running races, like bike races. I don't do swimming races, I guess, really. But because I'm doing all three sports and I'm racing in all three of them to some extent, I think it's just natural that I end up doing triathlon as well.
Yeah, for me, the past few years have really more so focused back in on running, with that just being my strongest sport and wanting to see how much more I can push there. But I think even with the tries and, doing the try earlier this year at Kinetic, um, I like the training aspect and putting in the work, right, and seeing those improvements, um, both for myself, but then through Pacers, and Y Try, right, I also lead runs, and it's great to see those who are, new to running, new to triathlon, right, seeing what they are capable of, coaching them through um, the training programs, right, and then them reaching their right 18th week, whether like for our Y Try program, right, and seeing them cross the finish line at Kinetic or seeing them cross the finish line um, at Jamestown this year, right, and hearing those stories of it wasn't something they thought they'd be capable of doing, and now, right, here they are. Um, so that's the other, thing that really just continues to bring me to the community is it's something I'm passionate about and love sharing with others. Um, and right, love particularly those who are new to it, getting into it and being able to accomplish those goals that they've set out.
That's good stuff. Tatsu, this one's for you. So you're on a virtual team
Yeah.
for cycling. You're on a master swim club and you run with Pacers. And you have probably a pretty demanding full-time job. How do you, and Laura's shaking her head like, So how do you manage all that? That's it. That's my question. How do you manage all that?
I don't find it particularly difficult, mainly because I just enjoy doing those things so much,
Ah,
I think. If I wasn't enjoying it, I think it would be difficult to manage because it does require me to like most weekdays I wake up at 4:30 so I can get my workout in the morning. And then I oftentimes will also do another workout in the evening. And then like on the weekends, if I'm training for something long, it is like sometimes a pretty long day. Like you would know, you train for an Ironman, so you know what it entails. But I think because I like doing it so much that it doesn't feel like a chore.
that's good because that 4:30 wake up call in the morning every day just because I enjoy the sport. I don't know if I'm dedicated, but to each his own. But that's just me. That's why I'm here interviewing the good people like y'all, because I'm like, 4:30. Anyway, there are times when I do get to wake up that early, but I'm kicking and screaming and fighting. Laura, for you're saying, hey, I can never compete with these two. So what for you brings you joy? Like, I know you like the training, but there has to be something else that brings you to sport or not. Maybe you're taking a break. Maybe you're just like, hey, I'm cool. And like, what is it for you with the training? Because I'm sure you don't wake up at 4:30 with Tatsu to go train. So what is it like for you in that dynamic?
Yeah, I find lately I've been motivated by like training with friends, so like the community aspect of sport, and embracing with them, getting friends to do new things. So like with this training for the Grand Canyon, I got to bring some people to some of my favorite spots for like mountain running and hiking out in Shenandoah. So it was really satisfying to see them experience a place that I love, going on my own and having kind of friends to do that too. And then I'm also motivated, I think, just being in beautiful places. So, I mean, we're lucky that we live near Rock Creek Park, but I also like to, as much as I can, go out in mountains and kind of experience nature in a way that we don't get in the city as often. And I think also doing races out, like doing trail races out in the mountains, it's more of a sense of like you're battling against the mountain, or like trying to to overcome the terrain more than that you're racing the other people. And there's something I think that's really gratifying to me in those situations. So it becomes less about like your time or the competition and more about like the experience that you're having.
That's why you my girl. You like to introduce people to new stuff and sport. That's my girl, y'all. I mean, that's my girl. Like, I appreciate that, right? Because sometimes people just don't know, and I get like this sometimes. I get a little uneasy when trying new things in the woods because that's not
Yeah.
familiar to me. And so to have those invitations to come out and explore in the woods and get your friends to experience trail running, it opens up a different pathway for people that they never would have known they would have enjoyed. And so I love the fact that you love, just bringing your friends along, getting them to try new things. That is awesome, and I'm here for it, for them to hashtag try beginner's luck. Peace. Love it. Now, Tim.
Brad, I,
Oh,
I just want to add a couple comments to what they both said. One, because I see Tatsu's workouts posted on Strava in the morning, and it is admiring to see his dedication to getting those workouts in at the time that he does. Um, you know, both Laura and I, like when we were training for Ironman Lake Placid, um, we were swim partners, right? Accountability buddies. And there would be moments right in the morning, like 5 o'clock would roll around. We'd text each other. It's like, it's cold outside. I don't feel like swimming. We're like, let's go back to bed.
Yep.
because y'all are my
Yeah,
type of
Tatsu is
friends.
like clockwork. Like it's gonna be on Strava that day.
I just followed you, Tatsu, because I just want to be encouraged. Not say I will do it, but I just like to be encouraged. So sometimes you just have to have the vision in front of you, like, oh, 4:30 in the morning. Yeah, he got all that done before 6 a.m. I love it. But Tim, what I was going to reach out to you about is that I heard when you were mentioning earlier that you like to coach and that you're giving back to sport. And that's what gets you, that's what keeps you drawn into sport. But my question for you is kind of like Tatsu, like you still have to wake up pretty early to coach athletes in running. So what is that like for you? Because you focusing now on running, that's your primary thing that you've been focusing on and seeing how good you can get. How does that impact your own running?
Yeah. I mean, so I work with a coach for my own personal running. So Katie Kellner with Forward Focus Running. And so she knows that I um, do the coaching with Why Try, that I do these runs with pacers as well. So to the extent I can, um, I weave those runs, right? The runs with pacers, the runs when Y Try season is happening, um, weaving those into um, my training program, like my training blocks and stuff. And so it's like the Monday runs and things like that with pacers, right? That's kind of a more of a social, easy run. So that knocks out like the easy runs that I usually have scheduled to do on Mondays, and things as well. Kind of the same thing with the Y Try runs and stuff, because I have a few, like once I start getting into build and peak training, there are times where I'm doing 2 runs a day and stuff. Um, so it's really just kind of fitting that all into um, right, my program and stuff. And I think it's the Tatsu's point earlier too, right? It's like it's can be challenging, but it's also like, I'm able to make it work because I enjoy doing it. And I make that part of my social activities as well. And so, right, those are where my friends are and things. So, it's a way for me to engage with community as well and get that connection while still putting my training in.
Love it. I love it. Y'all, I love the fact that you guys challenge each other to try. That is pretty cool. And if there's others out there who you and your friends have different challenges as you try, let me know right into us. Because I would love to feature you guys too. I think it's so important to hear how various people do things because it can inspire us to challenge our own friends with different challenges. Like I would never eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for a whole month. I don't care what kind of bed it is, right? But perhaps I might write someone's mom a letter to let them know how awesome their child is and send flowers for their birthday or Mother's Day. And so I think no matter what it is, it's just to incorporate fun in sport. And you guys seem to do it so well. And I hope that someone is encouraged by your stories. And perhaps we will hear about some of these challenges that people are doing as they're racing, because I think it also is motivating you in races. An Ironman distance race is not an easy feat, but to challenge it on top of that, you can't even imagine what Tatsu, for instance, is mentally going through, knowing that he's saying maybe 2 minutes behind Tim, trying to catch Tim on those hills, rolling hills, coming through to the finish line, just to, or going around the lake again. Like what is going through your mind? I don't know, but I know that definitely adds to the intensity of the moment and yet to the memory. And I believe that trying is all about creating memories, especially with those that you enjoy the most. And so I'm glad that you guys have a little tri family that challenges and encourages. And I hope you guys keep us posted on some of the things that you're doing. So thank you so much for being here. And now we get to some cool, fun questions. Rapid fire. Let's go. All right. Rapid fire. It's quick. It's easy. Quick answers, Tim. Quick answers, Tim. That's for Tim, everybody. Just kidding. Okay. At the end of a race, beer, wine, water, or soda?
Beer.
Say water first, then beer.
Beer.
It's funny how Tatsu and Tim were like, beer. Okay, well, we know this is the beer crowd and sake. Beer and sake crowd. If you couldn't do triathlon tomorrow, what would you do?
Bike.
Running.
Yeah, trail running.
Trail. All right. Do you like while you're in a race and you just happen to glance over at the what's All right, Mashonda, start over. What is your favorite or best sign that you've seen while on the course?
So when we did Ironman Lake Placid, our friends made like all of these signs for us that were incredible. Mine was of me when I was dressed up as an Oompa Loompa from Halloween. I don't remember what yours was.
Me and Tim, it was just huge blown up
Yeah, they were blow-ups of our heads.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
head blow-ups. And then there was also for me a Captain Hook cheer sign.
Yeah. And I think someone made a Tina Fey poster for me too, with that was eating pizza. I don't even remember the connection, but I liked it.
I love it. I love it. Favorite motivational quote or mantra?
Just keep swimming.
Yeah, for me, it's like kind of simple. I did this for my first Ironman, just wrote on my hand, be brave. Like, just like, don't let the fear stop you from doing, what you want to be doing. And so with like kind of a scary bike course with fast descents, I wanted to embrace that, like, be brave.
Yeah, mine's it's more connected to running, but you can put it with the triathlon as well. I like run smart, run hard, run with heart.
Okay, I like it. I dig it. Swim in a wetsuit or without?
With
Wet wetsuit.
Everybody's wet. Okay, okay. Favorite distance?
half Ironman, probably for me.
I think Olympic for me.
I would say Olympic as well. If it involves a bet with Tatsu, then it has to be more towards the half or Ironman distance.
Because that's where you win.
I need the longer courses.
Okay, okay. Favorite place to bike?
West Virginia Raw Talent Ranch.
Yeah, same.
Around here, West Virginia, but I mean, I haven't been to Europe for cycling yet, so
Yeah.
We need to make that a trip.
Yeah. We also did some mountain biking in Flagstaff, Arizona this past summer, and that was pretty incredible.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Paper week, love it or hate it?
What was that?
Paper week, love it or hate it?
Love it.
I love it.
Not my favorite.
Fair, fair, fair. And finally, pee on the bike or get off and take a proper pee break?
For an Ironman, I've always peed on the bike, but not for X try. I got it from pee properly.
Yeah.
I've tried to do it and I haven't been successful, so I end up getting off the bike and taking a pee.
Yeah, I've done both. I definitely would prefer to just use porta potty though.
By comparison, I took all the pit stops for Lake Placid. Tatsu peed on the bike and I won. So
yeah. I think that's what you learn, right? Is that like you can take the minute to just get off, go, get back going. I don't know. Yeah.
You know what I never thought about asking someone who does get off and get back on? Maybe that's like also helping to clear the lactic acid and to clear out, give you an opportunity to stretch and, get back on the bike and do your thing. But it's just a funny question. So I love how it makes people squirm and get uncomfortable. Like, oh my gosh, pee on the bike. What? But I'm, of course, sure you guys all pee in your wetsuit, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's how you warm up.
Yeah.
So let me tell you, I do not like peeing in my wetsuit. And it's so weird because I'm like, peeing on the bike, okay, fine. But wetsuit, I'll be like, because that's you got to take back in your house anyway.
Well, that water is cold.
Sometimes the water's cold. Well, thank you guys so much. I hope that you have a really happy holidays. And those of you who are listening, happy holidays to you. Do something fun with your family, your loved ones, and just remember, no matter what, whenever you try beginner's luck, you truly always win. And I hope that you find something that you love throughout this holiday season that will bring you hope, bring you joy, and will want to do things with friends because we are not meant to do life alone. So have a wonderful holiday, and we'll see you soon. I'm Mashonda, and we're out. Peace. Bye, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and listening to this episode. We need your help so we can continue to try at TBL. So for more information on where you can find and subscribe to this podcast, visit www.trybeginnersluck.com. And don't forget, whenever you try beginner's luck, you always win.